What's going on, Brash Garage? Do we ever have a video for you guys today? Some sad news. Out of all the three cars I would want this to happen to, it certainly is the one it happened to. We got some bad news. One of our cars got absolutely totaled, and it was at no fault of our own. We weren't even in the thing. We were sound asleep in bed, thing parked on the side of the road. Boom! What are you gonna do? We're here to break that down for you guys today and check out the extent of the damage before this thing probably gets written off by insurance. Yep, you guessed it. That car is our 1991 Honda Accord. It looks pretty okay when you're just looking at it. Let me show you the damage. When you're looking at this side, everything looks pretty good. It looks pretty normal, right? Pretty normal car. And I'll tell you right now, the damage doesn't look overly bad, but it is enough to warrant this car basically a write-off in the eyes of insurance. We go over to this right-hand side. Oh, you can probably see here, we got some damage. The bumper is completely cracked all the way down. Broke all the bumper clips there, and if you can't tell, our rear quarter panel is completely crunched. This always was rusted, but it was never pulled out like that before. Look at it. The rear quarter is completely crunched. The whole bumper clips and tabs are completely broken, and then something happened with the wheel. If you look at it here, you can tell it's cambered in a little bit and towed in quite a bit. The whole car tracks to the right as well. And if we come out a bit and you look at the gapping right here, it's very small, smaller than it should be. Come over here and it's about double that size. We go to the okay side of the car, and that gapping is even between both sides. And if you look at this wheel too, you can tell it's not really cambered in. You can still see the top of the sidewall. It doesn't look towed in or anything. On this side, you can tell how sunken it is. You can hardly even see the tire. Cambered in, towed in, smunched up the rear, and the whole quarter panel is gone. The bumper is completely split. This piece here is completely dinged and dented incredibly badly. And even up here it crumpled. Just a dimple there. So I don't know if this thing has any frame damage. I kind of want to lift the rear end and take a peek under there today, but let me break down to you guys why that's a write-off to insurance. Basically, the way it goes is if the repairs cost more than the blue book value of the car, it's a write-off. And to be a insurance fix, basically, a warranted insurance fix, going through insurance to fix it, they have to do it right. If you guys don't know, if you haven't watched the other videos, the paint on this thing is absolutely fucked. The clear coat is peeling everywhere. It's just a base coat. It's 30-year-old Honda paint. Terrible. So here's the thing. They're gonna have to cut out that whole rear quarter panel, and being a coupe, the rear quarter panel goes to the front door, so it's literally half the car. They have to cut that out, stitch weld in a new one, body work it, and then paint it. But they're not just gonna paint this because it wouldn't match the rest of the car. So they're gonna have to replace the quarter panel, fix anything suspension wise damaged because clearly the wheel's shoved off or something, fix all the bumper clips, get all of that fixed, and then paint the whole car. Now, without even cutting out and stitch welding in a replacement quarter panel, just painting the car cost about 3 to 4 times as much as the blue book value of this car. Basically meaning that insurance is going to see a rear quarter panel job, a bumper job, suspension component job, and to repaint the whole car for a car that's worth a couple $1,000 on a good day. Right off. Now we don't know anything for sure. I'm not going to go into detail about who did it or what happened. I'll tell the quick story, but to insurance, I'm fairly certain it's going to be a write-off. Luckily enough, one of Kira's best friends works at a little body shop that works with the insurance companies. So we're gonna go there and see if it's fixable or a write-off. My personal belief, and everyone that I've talked to said it's probably gonna be a write-off because those repairs simply just cost more than the blue book value of this car. Not to mention this car is already a rebuilt title once. So, second crash this thing's been in, that's been reported to insurance. I just want to jack it up today and see, but I'm going to do a quick breakdown of what happened and the story really quick. So, it's, what night was it? Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday, I don't even remember. It's such a blur. During the work week. Anyways, it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning roughly. Kira and I are dead asleep in bed, you know, everything's normal. Where we live is a little apartment complex, and you can get one paid for spot that's in between the buildings off the street. That's where the Vel lives. Obviously the Civic lives here at the shop, so the only place the Accord can go is on the street. We live in Canada where it snows a shit ton, and the night that this happened, it just happened to be dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping, and we live right on a corner, and there's been a lot of times people crash on that corner in the winter. Now, I bought the Accord as a replacement for the Veloster N solely for winter because I'm not scared of my own driving. I've been driving in this for years. I love cars. I know how to drive. It's the other people that sketch me out. So, sitting here thinking to myself, if I want someone else to write off my car, do I want it to be a Veloster N? Hell no. So we went on Marketplace, we bought this Accord as a replacement for the Veloster in case something happened in the winter, which it did, so thank God we have the Accord. But I also bought it to, if it survives, which it didn't, we were gonna fix it up the best of our abilities, sell it for a little bit extra than we bought it for, obviously, because we fixed it up, put a lot of work in it, flip it and get something more reliable, maybe a Veloster N replacement. But regardless, it's about 2 a.m., I'm sleeping in bed, it's quiet, snow's falling. If you guys live in snowy areas, you know that when the snow's falling, it's like sound deadening. It's just incredibly quiet. Next thing we know, we're sleeping away, everything's good, we aren't even awake. Next thing we know, bang! This crazy loud bang. Both of us shot up out of bed and we're like, what the hell? And we've heard that before. I have a lot of accidents on our street for some reason. And so we're kind of like waking up, like what the hell is even that? And we crawl out of bed and go look at the windows and we don't see anything. It's a whiteout everywhere. We heard the big bang, we've heard it before, and usually we'll just like run to the deck or something and we see a crash car and we're like, holy shit, look at that, see if they need help or whatever. We do this time, we don't notice anything. Everything's covered in snow, everything that's been parked overnight's covered in snow by now, so you can't really see any damage. But I look out at the Accord and I'm like, I don't really remember parking it like that. It was about 5 feet up from where I remember parking it, and it was crooked. It wasn't fully sideways, but it was crooked. I'm like, I don't remember parking it crooked or sideways. Keep in mind, it's 2 in the morning and we're exhausted, hardly even know what's going on right now. We just woke up to this loud ass bang and we're like, what the hell's happening? Didn't know if the damn building's falling apart, if someone's deck just fell off, someone drove a car into the side of the building, rolled their car down the street, I don't know. It was a loud bang, so we're just trying to figure it out. I'm looking at the Accord and I'm like, huh, weird, but it's covered in snow, so I don't think anything of it. Next, we go back to bed. Next morning, we wake up, going to work the usual, and we just decide, hey, let's take the Accord today. It's a snow day, that's why I bought the Accord, leave the Vel where it is. So, we go out to the Accord, fire the thing up, I grab the snow brush, I start brushing the thing off. I get to the front windshield, I'm brushing. There's a piece of laminated paper there. And I'm like, for fuck's sakes, man. Like, I can't park this thing anywhere else. I thought the city or my landlords were gonna be like, get this shit box out of here, you can't park on the street. And instantly I'm like, what the hell? So I grab this paper, I look at it. Here's my number, I hit your car last night, sorry, I can explain. I'm like, what? That explains why my car is 5 feet up from where I remember parking it and sideways, not straight. So I brush the rest of the car off and I see the whole crumpled passenger side of the rear of the car. And I'm like, oh, fucking great. So we drove it to work. Once again, it's completely snowy. There's snow all over the road, so I can't even tell if it's driving straight because you're just sliding everywhere. It's thick ass snow out there. And we call up insurance. We do the whole 9, blah, blah, blah. We meet up with the guy. He was cool. He admitted fault, yada, yada, yada. I'm not getting too much into that. At the end of the day, he seemed like a pretty honest, upfront guy. And everything's going smooth. We just need to go get a quote, but that's how it went. Just woke up out of dead sleep at 2 a.m. in the morning to a loud smash, and Buddy dipped. He was gone. He must have gone home and then came back with a note, because After the bang, it took us probably a couple minutes to get up, realize what the hell's going on, and go look outside. By that time, he was already gone. So he must have plowed the thing and then just literally kept going, because there was no one out there. It was dead silent. I was like, huh, weird. Someone must have crashed up the street a bit to where we can't see, and I wrote it off as that. Next morning, come to find out, it was my car that got written off. So enough chit chat. Let's jack this thing up in the rear. I'm actually probably just gonna pull it up onto ramps, crawl under there, and just see what I can see, bring you guys along the way, point out anything new that I find, and away we go. So we got this thing up on the ramps. Now let's try and take a peek underneath. I'll try and take you guys along with me. There's not a lot of space, but we'll do what we can. Yeah, to be honest with you boys, it doesn't look like much happened under here. The frame rail's straight. Maybe it's just like cosmetic stuff. It's good that the frame and everything looks straight. That's the main thing I was looking at. The muffler is definitely a little whack. It's coming down a bit. The hangers actually all held up surprisingly, so it might just be the bumper and shit, because that frame rail looks straight. That toe point looks okay. It's definitely a little bit bent right there. All the control arms and everything seem to be okay. I'm not entirely sure, because I never did any of this, and so I don't know what they look like from OE, but it doesn't look too bad up in here. It's really hard for you guys to see. I was just mainly checking that the frame rail's straight, so it looks like most of it is cosmetic. Here's a good shot of that bumper coming off, and then the whole rear quarter, that's a good shot of it. The thing is just mangled, so it doesn't look like anything structural happened, but we'll let you guys know what the collision center says on Monday, so stay tuned for that. Let's see if I can get this pulled out again. Yeah, it does look like in here's fairly straight. This is just the trunk, right? But right there is a little bit dented. A little bit dented, a little bit bent. Doesn't look like too much structural shit went on with this though. You guys remember when I put this taillight in, this gap was so big you could stick all your fingers in there, and now you can't even stick one finger in there. So this is all smunched so badly. Another thing too is the trunk gaps. It's tight up here and it gets wider as far as it goes. And it's pretty even, but you can tell that the trunk sits down a little bit and bows up right here. It's like a little crest. And then on this side, you can see that the fender is higher than the trunk. It just goes right off of it, and the trunk sunk down. So it's sunk down here, it's raised on this, and it's like buckled this way. Can you grab the keys in the trailer there? It hit so hard that it broke all these tabs off. This is broken and won't clip back on now. So the interior plastic too, you can see it broke those clips. I did not break that shit. But I would kind of like to get a bit better of a look in here. Like nothing looks too incredibly detrimental in here either. I think the frame and everything appears to be okay. I'll tell you too, this guy hit this car with a brand new like 2019 or 2020, might even be a 2018, but it was a new like Civic. It wasn't a crazy Civic, it was just like a touring, but the whole front of his car is destroyed. I seen it. Compared to this car looks like it just rolled off the factory compared to how his looks. So if you want a tough car, buy 90s, because even 90s Hondas are 10 times tougher than brand new Hondas. But as far as the frame goes, like it looks okay, like that rail in there looks okay. I think it might be purely cosmetic, but still with cutting out and stitch welding a whole new quarter and then painting the car is worth more than this. So even if the frame isn't damaged, still probably going to be a write-off. So Kira found something about these control arms. Here, bring out the pictures. Ooh. She stood at exactly the same distance away. As you can see the control arm there. You can see it poking out. Now go to the other side when you stood just as far away. You can't see anything.
That's 4 steps equal length back.
And it does make sense, because look at that. You can see it right there. If I go on this side and try to stand just as far away, you can't see it. And if we go in there, it's a lot more tucked up in the wheel well. Like just look at it from that angle, right there. And then if you go here, it's not so tucked up into the fucking wheel well. Holy shit. Not even close. You can almost see the top of the ball joint from this side.
Like also like this?
Yeah, I already showed them that.
Oh, okay. Cut that out.
Yeah, so this is incredibly bent. I wish you guys could see in there a bit better. There we go. Yeah, so you can see how bent looking This one is. And then if I go to the other side quick. It doesn't look like too much less bent, but you can see the neck appear straighter before it bends. This one, the neck appears bent what looks like to be a little bit sooner. I don't know though, it's just weird that you can see this whole thing and on the other side you can't. That's about the extent of the damage I can find though. Most of it looks like cosmetically, but still that's gonna warrant a higher repair than this Blue Book is, already being a rebuilt once. All right, boys, and that's about it for today. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Spirits are a little bit low. It's always a bummer getting one of your cars written off. Like I said at the beginning of the video though, I'm so glad it wasn't this. I would have died inside, and I am extremely glad it wasn't the Veloster, simply because of how expensive that thing is. And yeah, happened to the Accord, so I'm happy out of all 3 cars that happened to that one. I'm not happy that this happened at all. I will keep you guys updated with what insurance and the collision repair center says. Is it a write-off? Is it not? I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below if you think it's gonna be a write-off. The way insurance works, man, the repair's higher than the Blue Book value of the car, she done. And I do believe that that rear quarter panel repair and paint is obviously worth more than the car, so what does that lead to? It being written off. But it's about all I got for you guys. There is parts in the mail for this car that should be here soon, and I already have a couple stacked away. It's kind of bittersweet and feels like unfinished business with the Accord because I already have parts sitting over there for the car that are more than likely never gonna go on the car. So well, I'm just gonna keep you guys updated with the process. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the whole situation. And until next time, boys, comment, like, subscribe. I can't thank you guys enough for the continued support. Let's blow up this year. Peace out, boys.